Alright guys, Beer here, hope you're all good. In it again for another Q&A video. Thank you all for the questions that you keep sending through that are on the comment sections. It's awesome. So if you want me to keep doing them, let me know. I will. If you don't, then I'll stop. But yeah, basically just answering any questions you have about literally anything. So here we go. First question is from Jamie McMillan, and he asks, which guitarist influenced your barky mid-dominant tone the most? I'm just curious because most of the other guitarists I listen to have much more treble dominant tone. Great question. Basically, I think that spawned mainly from wanting to do the Nuno thing. Like Nuno Betancourt had quite a MIDI tone. Obviously there's way more treble than I use, but quite a MIDI tone as well, because it was good for percussive playing. It was really good for trying to get out the nuances within the hand and the pick. Try and really pull out those rhythmic parts that I was trying to write and stuff like that. And other than that, I think because I was always playing in a guitar in a band with one guitarist, having more mids meant it sounded wider and bigger and fatter, so it seemed to work quite well. On top of the fact that Dave has quite a MIDI bass tone as well, so the marriage of the two, we tried to blend like the perfect crossover of mid-range, like Dave's bass mid ends where mine begins kind of thing. So that's one of the main reasons that I do that. Got a question from Micky James, and he asks, how did you find that mystic foggy forest sound that we all hear in Toska? Was it difficult to translate it to the guitar? Thank you for that question. Mystic forest foggy sound, I really like that. I guess that's kind of that dull, I guess what you mean by that is the kind of ambient delay reverb sections where it's quite dull and dark sounding. Really, that's down to intentionally trying to sound dark and a bit sinister and a bit cold and a bit like, not serious as such, but just to have that kind of, yeah, I suppose it has to have that uncomfortable sound, that like disconcerting sort of vibe to it, I guess. Which, if that sounds like a mystic foggy forest, then that's cool, because I think it comes from listening to a lot of film score and a lot of, I do listen to quite a bit of classical music in my own time on the train and things, and they manage to pull off this sound that is so haunting and dark and chilling when it needs to be, or really uplifting and heavenly when it needs to be, and I love the fact that they can do that. And obviously that's an entire orchestra, whereas I'm doing it with guitar. But I think when you've got reverb and delay, you can create swells and moods and stuff by just picking a few notes out of the chords that will provide you that kind of feeling. Actually, no, tell you what, the best person to listen to for all that kind of stuff is Gustav Holst, The Planets. Just check that out with some maybe Hans Zimmer, some of the last couple of soundtracks he's done. And just, yeah, that's kind of where I vibe that feeling from, that kind of sound. So yeah, nice one, thanks for the question. Next question is from David Woodbridge. He asks, can you tell the story behind the solo for White Dove? It stands out as musically complete and compelling, and extraordinarily well played. Thank you very much, David, for that question and the kind words on the solo. If anyone doesn't know what that is, that's a song by one of my bands, Dorje, where there's a guitar solo in it near the end. And I kind of always saw that song as a kind of pay my respects to Extreme and Nuno Betancourt for the influence and the musical influence from my young age playing music. So that's how I approached the solo. I was like, what would Nuno do? On top of the fact that I just got my PRS Custom 24 at the time, which is now my Paul's guitar, but I just got it and I was like feeling really inspired, and it was a great guitar to track lead on, really easy to play. So I felt ambitious and felt the challenge to write something that combined both like melody and epicness with, a bit of shred but creative note choice, and that's with some rhythmically interesting phrasing, and that's generally how I'll approach a solo in general. But that particular solo was heavily inspired by Nuno Betancourt, and the whole song is, but particularly the solo was like, yeah, I think he'd do something like this. I really enjoy playing it live. It's a lot of fun, and it was a great solo to write in the studio as well. Did it at home, and just the process of going through each section and refining it until I was happy with the way it flowed was a lot of fun. So I'm glad that that's come across. So yeah, thank you very much for that question. Next question is from Adam King, and he asks, Beer, 2 questions, mate. How do you cope with the billions of terabytes of video and audio files you generate and have to keep safe? And question 2, get your board and do an ollie for us. Well, the first question would be answered by, I have a RAID hard drive that sits on my desktop that I back everything up onto. So really it goes in 3 stages. if I'm recording out with my laptop, it first goes onto there. That backs up to iCloud, I think, or my desktop, my Dropbox. Then I have an external drive that it goes onto, and then when I get home, it goes onto the backup. So there's like 3 backups at all times, basically. And once I'm done with stuff, and it's like over 6 months old, I'll just delete it, because I've got the final video from that footage anyway, so I don't really need to keep hold of all that footage. It doesn't really seem wise to have just loads of it. Once I've got the edited video, that's kind of all I need. As for doing an ollie, I would love to do an ollie for you, but basically lost the weight, got back into skating for a bit. I was like, yes, I'm going to go out and skate again, I'm going to get some good footage and all that kind of thing. And then I hurt my knee again. So I've had an ongoing knee issue since I was about 16, and getting overweight, I'd redone an injury that I had an operation for. Then I lost the weight and I thought it'd be fine, went skating and I've twisted it and I've torn the cartilage, and now it keeps locking when I walk and it's really painful. So I'm waiting for a consultation to have another operation on my knee, so I can't skate. I'd love to, but I can't. I spent a load of money on a brand new board and I'm really happy with it, and I can't use it now, so that's just brilliant. But in any case, I will do when I can stand and walk and skate properly again. But thank you for the question. Last question is from Simon Laurendeau. I hope I said that right. Basically, he asks, do you think someone still can be a professional musician even if he hasn't studied music? I'm going to answer that question straight away by saying absolutely. For most things, not everything, because there are things like rocket science and like public safety stuff that you should probably study for. But when we're talking about music and arts and things like that, yeah, I don't think you need any qualification to be a professional at it. You just need to be good, committed, professional in your mannerisms and your punctuation and the way you conduct yourself to other people. That makes you a professional. On top of doing it full time for a living, that also makes you a professional. But you don't need qualifications. I mean, put it this way. I went to ACM not for a degree. I went there purely to network and meet people. Getting a degree was kind of by the by. I spent the money on the student loan, so I figured I may as well do it. But I didn't need it. What I needed was to meet people and then to try and gain a professional career in music. So yes, I had the qualification. I got the qualification, but that wasn't the intention, and I don't think it's contributed to the career that I have right now. I think being there, meeting those people did, but I think that's the important thing to remember. If you're good at what you do and you enjoy it and you want to do it and you want to go out there and meet and network with other people and gain relationships that way and then work that way, that makes you a professional. So you absolutely don't need a qualification, and I hope you remember that. I hope anyone watching this video that is thinking about, do I need a qualification to be pro? No, you don't. You just need to be pro. You just need to be who you want to be, conduct yourself and act that way with everything you do, and it will happen. And even if it doesn't happen straight away, I mean, I set out on the path to try and be a professional musician when I was 16 and I'm now 29, and only in the last few years has it actually become a regular sort of professional thing. So I've been trying for literally a decade and over a decade. So you got to be patient, you got to be persistent, and you got to be driven and committed to it, because if you slow down, everything slows down. So there you go. Hope that was useful. That was the last question. Thank you very much for asking these questions. Please keep them coming in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you all very soon.